on to Melissa Rosenberg, who was the screenwriter of Twilight, and all that she said. She said that basically the way she wrote the screenplay was so that some scenes may not actually be the same in the same place, saying the same words. She assures the whole movie will feel the same, will have the same feelings and same vibes. And the toughest part to write and turn into a movie and a screenplay was the question scenes between Bella and Edward in the car. As we all know, that's been said before. They had to change a little bit of that. The monitor guy who was asking her the questions at this point an excellent question about how the whole book is from Bella's point of view, and a lot of it is in her head, and if they had switched up points of view or how they were going to sort of convey most of Bella's thoughts into the movie. And she had a really good answer for that. She said that she tried to find scenes where Bella could voice her thoughts, like to her friends or to Charlie or in emails or just like to herself. She said she tried to fit as much of Bella's thoughts into she actually physically speaks. And then the guy asked her about voiceover, if there was going to be voiceover. What she said was that when she wrote the screenplay, she wrote it with no voiceover. She said that she didn't want any voiceover at all. And then Catherine Hardwicke, while they started filming, Catherine said, I really want some voiceover in there. I think we need to have some voiceover. And Melissa was like, no, we don't need voiceover. Voiceover is tacky. And as filming progressed, they realized they were going to have some voiceover. So they added a whole bunch of voiceover, and then in the first edit, they cut a lot of the voiceover out. And then now in the final product, they've ended up putting most of that voiceover back in. All of that voiceover is direct quotes from the novel. And then she spoke a little bit about how involved Stephanie was and how it was really more of Catherine who was helping her with the screenplay than Stephanie, how she would call Catherine up if she didn't have an idea, and her and Catherine would discuss things and bounce ideas off of each other. Stephanie had given the producers and her as the writer a list of things that she did and did not want to see in the Twilight movie, and she said that one of them was fangs. Stephanie did not want to see any fangs in the movie at all, in any of the vampires. All the actors who were playing vampires had to get their teeth checked to make sure that they didn't have fang teeth, which I thought was really funny that they stuck to that so well. The movie is 110 minutes long. I didn't know that. Maybe y'all did, but I didn't know that. Then we got into the fan questions, and a fan asked her what scenes she enjoyed writing the most. And she said that some of the scenes she enjoyed writing the most were the action scenes between all the vampires. Those were really, really fun for her to write because she really just got into it and got on a roll, you know, writing all the action scenes and watching it flow. So that was easiest and most fun for her to write. Also said that a lot of the scenes that were fun to write was the Edward and Bella tension scenes when they're first starting to get to know each other and haven't completely bonded yet. Just that sexual tension there was really fun, she said, to write. She told us that the Charlie scenes are beautiful because she said that really throughout the movie you see the progression of Bella and Charlie's relationship from strangers to really like getting a father-daughter relationship, and then to the heartbreaking scene where Bella leaves Charlie, which she told us that that scene is going to be beautiful and like make you cry when Bella has to yell at Charlie and tell him that she's leaving to go save Renee. She said that the actor who plays Charlie is phenomenal, and all the Charlie-Bella scenes are really, really good. She told us that she didn't write Bella's clumsiness into the script, but Catherine and Kristen actually, like, created Bella's clumsiness. She said that Kristen trips all the time, and she mumbles, and she stutters, and she says awkward things, and she looks awkward, and is in awkward situations, and just mumbles all the time, and just so clumsy throughout the whole movie. Just totally embodies the essence of Bella being clumsy. I asked her if there were any specific things that happened in the movie that Stephanie went and said, whoa, I don't like that, you need to cut that out or fix that. And she said there were a couple things that Stephanie like pulled the reins on and made them cut out and really had issues with. She said that one of the main things Stephanie had issues with was their original version of sparkling. Stephanie really had an issue with sparkling when she first went in and saw the first cut of the movie. She said that Stephanie was just really upset by how they did the sparkling, that they reworked the sparkling tons and tons of times, and now Stephanie is approved and is really happy with the way the sparkling has turned out. So she assures us that the sparkling in the movie is going to look good. Someone asked her who came up with the tree scene where Bella and Edward are climbing through the trees and stuff, and she said that Catherine actually did. She wrote the screenplay in 5 weeks, which is not a lot of time. She was really rushed to write it. The script from front to back, all the words, the whole script was 110 pages long. And I asked her about the end of the movie. I asked her if it was going to be the same prom scene and if they were going to have the same line. She said the very last line that Edward speaks to Bella, the very last line in the book, is half of that is his exact words in the movie. So she said that basically the movie ends with the same prom thing, and it has the same line as the end of the movie. But she did tell us that there was a little bit of an extra surprise at the end. Not like after the credits, but like right before the movie ends, there's like a little bit of an extra surprise. There was a question about the meadow scene arose, and she said that the meadow scene is really the center point of the movie. The meadow scene is really when the movie takes a complete turn. And she said that the meadow scene in Stephanie's book is so wide and so open and so beautiful. And that's pretty much most of what she said on Twilight. She talked a little bit about Dexter, her show. And then it ended and we all got to come take pictures with her, and she signed all of our books. Her signature right up at the top above Stephanie Meyer's, it says Best Melissa Rosenberg. And I got a picture with her, which I will show you right now. And now for the Rob Pattinson story. So after the whole screenwriter thing was over, we jumped in the car and we drove up to North Austin. Drive up and we see this huge long line, and we're like, oh my gosh, look at this huge line. Are we just gonna have to wait in that? And then we drive around and there's like another like slightly shorter line, and we're like, okay, which line is which? So we go up and we ask, and they said that the really long line is for people who don't have badges, and then the shorter line is for people with badges, like what I had. And they said that people with badges were going to get in before the people without badges. And we waited in the line of people with badges, and it turns out the people in front of us was Michelle and her best friend from BellaandEdward.com. If you haven't heard of BellaandEdward.com, it's this really great Bella and Edward fan site, and Michelle is like the owner. Like, she created it, she runs it, she like, oh, she's so cool. And so I waited with them for like 2 hours in line, and it was so much fun getting to talk to her. Like, thank you, Michelle, for letting me hang out with you guys. And we finally got to go inside, and they all sat us down, and of course everyone was like freaking out because they're like, is Rob gonna be here? When's Rob gonna be here? Was Rob gonna be here? And we all got into the theater, and there was only like 200 seats available in the theater, so only the people with badges got in, and very, very few people without badges got in to see the movie. So all the people who didn't have badges and did not get in to see the movie, they stayed outside and they waited in line to be the first ones to get Rob Pattinson's autograph, but I'll get to the rest of that story later. So we're all in the theater, and they got it, and the director and his assistant went up, and they were kind of talking about the movie a little bit, and they put it on, and there was a little bit of audio problems, so they had to restart it a couple times, but finally they got it. And then the movie started, and Rob like snuck into the back of the theater, like he was like all hunched back in his chair, just like watching it, because it was the first time he'd ever seen how to be like on screen. Like, he'd never seen the movie finished before, and he is the main character of the movie, so he was really watching it intently. But like there was like a buzz rippling through the audience, like Rob's here, Rob's here, Rob's here, Rob's here. It was pretty intense. The movie was great. The movie, Rob plays like an absolutely anti-Edward Cullen character. He plays Arthur, or Art, who is kind of a loser at life. He really wants to be a musician, but he's no good at all. He's terrible. And so the whole movie is about how he has a really dysfunctional family life, and he hires like a life coach to help him like put his life together. Rob did some incredible acting, you guys. If anyone has doubts about Rob Pattinson's acting, rest assured that it is not a problem at all. He was such a phenomenal actor in this film. Like, he was so good. It's Rob and the director, and then Rob walks out, and he's walking down with the director, and he looks so fine, and the whole audience stands up, and we're all like freaking out because we're like watching Rob Pattinson, like I'm here and he's there, and he's like walking around like in the same room as me. His hair was totally like the Edward Cullen hairdo, except like so much like longer and thicker, and it was like, seriously, it was like sticking like straight up. Like, everyone was always like touching his hair and like messing with his hair and stuff, and every time he would like go like that to his hair, like the whole audience would just go, huh, like you'd hear the audience like sigh. It was so cute. And then like they let the audience ask questions, and like every single hand in the audience was raised. But the first question that got asked was by this cute little girl. It was so sweet. This little girl stood up and she was like, Rob, can I have a hug? And he was like, and someone was like, just give her a hug. So this little girl walks down to like the front where the stage is, and she gives Rob a hug, and then she starts crying, and she's sitting there, and she's like tears right down her cheeks, and she's just looking up at him, and he's like 6'3", like he's freaking tall, and like this little tiny little girl, he's probably like 6 or 7, is just sitting there like bawling, looking at him. And he's like, oh, and you could tell he was like did not know what he was doing. Like, he gives her another hug, and then he steps back, and she's still crying, and he's like, oh, and he like bends down, and he's talking to her, and she's still crying, and then he gives her another hug, and they like pat her on the head and you say he is so much more beautiful in real life. Like I cannot describe to you how beautiful he looks in real life. It's because he had to catch a flight in like 6 hours back to England, I guess. So they cut the line off like 10 people in front of me. Like, I'm not kidding. They cut the line off 10 people in front of me. They're like, okay, he can only sign up to this point. And it was so frustrating, and I got so mad because I was 10 people away from getting to meet him and shake his hand, get an autograph, and get a picture with him. But oh well, I still got to see him. I seemed to actually be in the same room as Rob Pattinson. It was an amazing, phenomenal weekend, and just